Manic Vandals Podcast. We are back once again, joined by my Vandal partners, Keith,
Hello.
and the other Vandal, Mike.
Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, yeah, we're a little rough on those, but we'll fix it up a bit.
With, yeah, with Dave as always is Mike.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so this episode, we're gonna be going over. We weren't really sure how to handle the whole spoiler season thing, so what we decided on we're just gonna start with sort of like constructed, like standard and historic. There's pretty much like 20 or so like key cards that we sort of think are worth talking about. And we'll see how it goes. We're thinking after this we'll follow it up with maybe some more cards or and definitely a limited review. So the other one might be a little more beefier and in depth with like the entire set, but we figure we'll just start with the big boys today, and yeah, just go from there. So first guy on the list is Xavier of Allenbock.
Ah,
Xavier of Allenbock. It's a cost 1, a white, and a white. He's a human soldier creature, 1 power, 2 toughness. He has training, and whenever Xavier of Allenbock trains, exile up to 1 other target creature from the battlefield or creature card from a graveyard. When Xavier of Vollenbach leaves the battlefield, put the exiled cards onto the battlefield under their owner's control. So any initial thoughts on this one?
I guess my initial reaction, because in Constructed when I do play, I'm generally a white weenie fan. I tend to take a slightly closer look to the constructed viability whenever I look at white cards during spoiler season. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really. I don't know all the things that you guys know about the constructed stuff. My initial reaction is that I don't think this sounds all that great. I feel like it seems like the training thing in general, like in as far as limited goes, I kind of see what it's going to be doing there. As far as standard goes, because I don't think you know powerful cards are sort of like scattered across multiple sets. So obviously this card has training, and in White Weenie generally almost every creature is going to have a higher power, because otherwise it wouldn't be in White Weenie.
right.
So I could see how it'll trigger every once in a while, like that type of thing. But I feel like 3 mana for this type of card, it just doesn't seem that high of an impact to me. Like I'm thinking just from this previous set, Adeline is 3 mana, and generally when that card's on the battlefield, I mean, it's already I think at worst, like if it's like the only card on the battlefield, it's a 1/4. If there's one creature attacking, like a creature from turn 2, yeah, it's automatically a 3/4, and it'll keep making tokens.
Yep.
So I do understand that this card, it does seem like there's a lot of flexibility in how it's used, because you can exile your own creatures from the graveyard, or you could exile a creature from the other side. So I mean, there is like a little bit of a modal aspect to it, I guess. But I feel like it's you know, you have to attack to trigger it. So I don't know. It just training obviously means you have to attack with 2 creatures. So including that, I mean, you know, counting the Savior. So my guess, now I don't know what you guys are about to say about the card. My guess is that this card's not gonna make the cut in white weenie type decks. Because it just seems like there's too many hoops you have to jump through for it to work. And then kind of like any of the other exile creatures in White Weenie already, like Skyclave Apparition or Brutal Cather or Elite Spellbinder. Like those ones kind of just do their thing automatically. Where this one, like, you have to actually like attack with not only that one, but another creature. Like, what if there isn't another creature? What if, you know, swinging with 2, you know, you erase one of the creatures on the battlefield, but then, you know, there's still another one that's going to trade with the creature that you're trying to keep, like you're trying to train with. It just seems like it's too goldfishy, or a magical Christmas land, I should say. That's my guess. That's my guess. I didn't look up anything about it, so let's see how good I am at card evaluation.
I'll go next. I'm with you. I mean, it's a mythic, and it's a 3-cost 1/2. It has a great ability. I mean, I would love to slap this thing on the board after I've been wiped and start gaining the creatures out of my graveyard. The problem is, and I think this, if it had flash, or if it had haste, you know, something. I know that doesn't go along with white, but if we had those things, that way when it hit the board, it could make a dent. You know, just like you said, the Elite Spellbinder, when it comes into play, it does something. When the Cather and the Apparition come in, they do something. This one, you got to wait a turn, and you know as well as I do, if there's any removal on the board at all, this thing's dying the first time. You have even if you attack with it, it's dying the first attack. So I'm with you. I think it's flashy, but it's I don't think it's going to make it. I may be wrong, but I'm with you.
You know what my prediction is?
What?
I think there's going to be a lot of wild cards wasted on this absolute garbage.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it like you said, it's basically 3 mana, do nothing, and it's too steep. And at 2 toughness, I mean, it'll just yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely not a fan.
Yep.
Although interestingly, in my notes, I wrote it would be good for historic, but as Mike was talking about it, I realized I thought when it said when it trains or enters the battlefield.
Right.
So it would actually do something when it entered the battlefield, but it doesn't. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah. So so what is it? Three thumbs down, it sounds like.
Yes.
Definitely a thumbs down.
Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs down.
All right. Next up, we have Cemetery Prowler. Cemetery Prowler. It costs 1 colorless, green and a green. It's a wolf creature. 3 power, 4 toughness. It has vigilance. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card type they share with cards exiled with Cemetery Prowler. Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, I guess. I guess the format of this podcast, it's almost like a quiz. I'm putting my card evaluation to the test.
Yeah.
Mine too. Yeah.
Well, Mike, as of right now, you have the highest pedigree out of all of us, so
So yes.
Maybe, but I don't know too much about constructed, but I guess this is good. So you can tell you can give me a buzzer if I screw up. All right. So I guess here, okay. I mean, just my very initial thought, I'll say, is that I'm gonna say yet again, it's not that good. I'd say this one's. I mean, this one's obviously closer to being playable than Xavier is. When I picture the construction of mono green right now, obviously this card's better in a vacuum than like Kazandu Mammoth, but I don't actually know if Kazandu Mammoth is even still being played in mono green. I feel like it's not.
Some decks it is, yeah.
Some decks it is. So obviously, but like, you know, you're kind of using that as like the oh yeah, I guess it is. So you know, that one you're also kind of using it though as a land in a pinch. This one does at least you know, when it enters the battlefield, it does something unlike Xavier.
Right.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say people will try this and it might be all right. You know, if Briar Bridge Tracker can be good in and again, I don't know if those are being played right now either.
They are.
Like this one, yeah, this one's a 3/4, and I think that's actually better than a 4/3. I'm gonna guess as a vigilance creature, because I feel like nowadays it seems like having a higher toughness feels kind of nicer than having a higher power. In aggro decks, like when you're you know, when there's like a creature based meta. I could be wrong. But like, you know, this one can survive through things a little bit better than Briar Bridge can. You know, this card could snowball over time. I'd say that this card has a chance but not because I believe in this card that much, but more because mono green, the 3-drop slot doesn't have like an obvious busted card. Because even like the old growth troll, you know, that card's pretty good, and then, you know, it recurs more or less. So like, you know, it's hard for me to tell if this card's better than that one is, because that's almost like 2 trolls.
Yeah.
So I'll say that this one has a chance, but I'm not going to say it's like going to be an all-star necessarily. It's hard for me to gauge about the, you know, cheaper casting cost thing, how well that'll play out. I'd say this one has a chance to be played, but I don't think it's going to be like an all-star. That's my guess.
Yeah. Well, I'll go, and I like it. I like the 3/4 better than the 4/3. I'm with you on that, Mike. And the vigilance, that's good. And you don't have to have a token to keep it pumped. I like that aspect of it too. It's just I like the ability that it can exile a card from a graveyard. So if I'm playing Is It, which is the bane of my existence, but if I'm playing Is It, you know, this has the ability. If I'm not running white, which white has a great way to start getting out of the graveyard too from your opponent, this allows you to get that out. I like that. And the reduced cost of things. So if I drop this on 3, then next turn I lay a land and I could play my Wrenn and 7. You know, so oh no, that would be same card type. So it'd be a werewolf. So maybe in my Gruul werewolf deck, this would fit. You know, I don't know. I think I'm like you. I like it for the fact that it's 3/4 vigilance. And I think it makes things cheaper. So definitely in the Gruul werewolf deck, I think this would be good if it's gonna make everything one colorless less. That means I can cast Tovolar for 1 red, 1 green, you know, the turn after this. I think that's good. The 2 green might make it a little tough to get in on curve to where it makes a difference, but I would try it there first before I would put it in mono green, because that's my take. So I'd say give it a try.
Okay.
Right.
I think this is a card that I am gonna waste wild cards on.
Yep.
I think it's pretty fucking good. Apparently, if you cast like an artifact creature or an enchantment creature, it makes spells you cast cost 2 less.
Oh, really?
Oh, so it counts for both. Okay. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm not really sure on the whole grand scope of like random enchantment creatures out there, but I'm sure I can't imagine in historic there isn't some way to fuck with that. Now it is one of those deals where you sort of have to you know you have to like set it up, but I don't know. I feel like somewhere somehow it's gonna have a home. So maybe not every deck, but I think it'll get used. So thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, I think thumbs up makes sense.
Thumbs up.
It's definitely good enough where yes, I think Dave is going to be spending his wild cards on it. So
He'll
that's
let us
exactly
know
what I
how
said.
it
People are
does.
going to try. People are going
Yeah.
to try it out, and it may or may not, make. I don't know. Compared to the other 3 drops in green, it feels like comparable, and it has like a specific utility that makes it worth a shot. I mean, if Kazandu Mammoth, like you don't really like run less lands. It's more like you just might help out some like crappy starting hands or something.
Yeah.
With Kazandu Mammoth, but like more or less a vanilla 3/3 or 5/5. If that's in mono green right now, I don't see why this wouldn't be. So
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: it's not replacing troll. I mean, troll's a backbreaker. Everybody hates the troll. So yeah, but yeah, for the mammoth or even the tracker, yeah, I could say you could swap it in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of a tangent, but I feel like tracker is sort of not that good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
right.
I'd rather have 4 more trolls than 4 trackers.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
All right, next up, Cemetery Illuminator.
Oh, yes.
It's the same whatever group as the Prowler, but it's the blue one, so it costs 1, a blue and a blue. It's a spirit creature, 2 power, 3 toughness. It has flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Once each turn, you may cast a spell from the top of your library if it shares a card type with a card exiled with Cemetery Illuminator.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it has like a freaking book written on it. So, Mike, pop quiz, question number 3.
Okay, my guess with this card now, for the first thing is I don't think to my like on the top of my head, I don't know if there's a blue based deck that would want like a non-dragon creature anyway. So like I don't really know if this has a place unless like a new deck forms. You can overrule me on that right now because I don't want to go on a soliloquy if I'm just wrong on that.
I don't know.
Right,
The Geist
right.
is going to be a thing, but I don't know. Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so my guess with this is that this card doesn't feel that strong. Like I feel like you can look at the top card of your library, which is like a valuable thing to have, but there have been many other cards in the past that have had that, so it's not like a groundbreaking thing. And you can cast the top card of your library, so I mean, I don't know, it I guess it essentially expands your hand by 1. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, but it's like you can't always cast it unless it just so happens to be the same type of card. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like a completely trash card by any means, but it doesn't really feel like a mythic, like bonkers power level to me. So my guess is no, unless there's some sort of blue-based deck that's going to have an over. And now I know that blue-based decks do have an overabundance of like instants and sorceries, but again, I mean, that's still subdividing like non-creature spells into two things. Obviously, I feel like a deck with instants might want this type of thing, I guess. My answer on this one, if I have to pick a thumbs up or thumbs down, is I'm going thumbs down. That's my guess.
Okay. I'll say this: people are going to waste their their wild cards on this because those blue mages are crazy to draw cards. They love it. I mean, I'm with you, and I'm going to say this right off the bat: this is a very expensive Ranger class in my book. I mean, Ranger class, you get to look at the top card of your library, you have to power it up to that. But still, this to me feels like a very expensive Ranger class. So you get less out of it. But I think Geist is going to be a thing, or the Spirit decks. So if you're running full on spirits, but this says card type, so I don't know. I think there's going to be some blue mages that are going to throw this thing in and do something with it. For me, I typically don't play blue. So it's a thumbs down for me, but I think the community will be all over it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you guys on this one. Yeah, I mean, it's like the only thing I could really picture is if like it's like if you put it in the sideboard and you figure out that like you and the other guy, I don't know. I feel like this one is just a little too dirtily. Like I feel like it's way too hit or miss. Like I guess like the wet dream of this card is you just like endlessly cast cards. Oh,
Right.
you can't do that anyway. It's once each turn. So
It's once each turn. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
Mike said you extend your hand by one, and if you choose card type spirit or creature spirit, that means you could cast a spirit off the top or whatever. Yeah, I think blue mages will be all over it. But I just don't see it. I think it's trash.
yeah.
For mythic, I think it's trash.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so three thumbs down. I wonder when we're gonna have our first disagreement.
I don't know.
Maybe it'll be this one, which is Faith-Bound Judge. So where is he? Faith-Bound. Where is it? Oh. Faith. Wait, am I missing something?
No,
Where's this card?
I don't know. Faith-Bound Judge or Sinner's Judgment. That's a DFC.
It's in the trash already.
Oh, here it is. It was the very first one in the list. All right.
Mike said it's already in the trash. It's done.
Yeah, it will be very soon. All right, so this is one of those double-sided boys here. So the front side, it costs 1, a white and a white. It's a spirit soldier creature, 4 power, 4 toughness. It has Defender, Flying, Vigilance. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Faithbound Judge has 2 or fewer judgment counters on it, put a judgment counter on it. As long as Faithbound Judge has 3 or more judgment counters on it, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And then it has a disturb cost of 5, a white and a white. And the flip side is an Sinner's Judgment. It's a aura curse enchantment. It reads, enchant player. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. Then if there are 3 or more judgment counters on it, enchanted player loses the game. If Sinner's Judgment would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So that's a handful.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. So how you feel, Mike, about this one?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think. I mean, obviously, this doesn't feel like an aggro card, no matter what, anyway. So I really don't think this is gonna fit in a. It's not gonna fit in White Weenie, that's for sure, because it's very. I mean, it's incredibly slow.
Right.
And you know, the fact that you have to actually cast the other side for 7 mana, I feel like this is one of those cards where, you know, this is where it kind of goes over my head, where I feel like this will be the type of card that people will try to break in some sort of like combo thing, or, you know, like a control deck or something, maybe. Like, wasn't there what was that Book of Angelic Deeds?
Book of Deeds. Yeah.
Or Exalted Deeds.
Yeah, Book of it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because didn't that card actually get played? Was that card banned or something?
No, I actually have a deck I use it in.
Oh, okay. I mean, this card kind of just feels like, you know, I feel like a lot of cards that have like the, you know, you win the game or you lose the game, like they're always like, you know, kind of like they are, you know, people are gonna waste wild cards on these cards type classic conundrums. I feel like there will be people that will try to break this card, but it just feels it's way too slow for an aggro deck unless there is a way to like accelerate counters on it. They do have to be judgment counters though, so it's like you still need to have at least 1 on it. So even something, and this isn't even standard. I mean, this is like modern, where like you use something like Doubling Season or something. So this card just, yeah, I you know, without me saying too much more, it's a thumbs down, really. I mean, 7 mana for the other side, and then that also has to have counters added to it.
Yeah.
So
you gotta,
yeah,
you're gonna go 3 turns after you get the other side. So it's,
right.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thumbs down. The Book of Exalted Deeds is an alternate win con in the other deck I use, but I'm gaining life with it. You know, it's an angel base too. So yeah, it's just an alternate win con if things get sticky. But yeah, I don't like this. This is another trash mythic. I mean, in 4/4, I mean, it's even if you play the 3 cost 4/4 defender with flying and vigilance, that's good and that's okay, but it's gonna die. I mean, you know, a Blizzard Brawl will take it out, a Troll will take it out. You know, burn down the house takes it out. There's a lot of things that get it. You know, it's not going to last. I'm with you. It's too slow for mono white, and it's too slow for control. I think if the game goes that long, you probably lost anyway. You know, if you're counting on using this to win the game, you've already lost in my book. So.
Right, like the last thing I'll say is, I mean, just compare this to like Alrund's Epiphany. It's like that's also 7 mana, and it can be less. Right? Wait, what is the Foretell? That has Foretell, right?
Yeah, it's Foretell. I think the Foretell is it 6? I'll have to pull it up.
All right, so yeah, maybe the Foretell. But yeah. I mean, no matter what it is, the point is that instantly gives you an extra turn. So like that's when you kind of start winning the game. This card, you pay 7 mana, and you still have to wait 3 more turns to win the game. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess actually it's technically 4. You cast it, and then you have to wait till your next upkeep to put one on. So I guess it's 4 turns after that. So yeah, I mean thumbs down.
Thumbs down for me.
All right. Well, this might be the big controversy. I mean, it's a bit of an exception because I'm talking strict. Yeah, I mean for standard, I mean this is just shit. But in historic, and I know Keith is familiar with this card, Dance of the Manse.
Oh yes.
Oh well, actually, just kidding. It specifically says non-R enchantments.
Ah,
So, never mind. But either way, maybe not historic. Um, maybe in modern, is there like a card? Um, so here's a card: Resurgent Belief. Return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. But even then, I mean, it's sort of dirtily, uh, trying to set all this up. So,
yeah.
um, I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, Mike also said it. Anytime they have a card that says like lose the game on it, they just intentionally make it like impossible for it to like, really ever work. Because I mean, if any card that ever said that was like broken, like it would just make the game like so incredibly not fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I'm going to add this as a caveat. Yeah, I've run that book of Exalted Deeds, and I've won games with it. I mean, I have, and but here's what's so this I hate it because whenever you set the counter on the Haven, right, and you let it go back into being a land, the only way they can kill it is land destruction. And if they don't have it, they don't quit. It's like I mean, you can't even deck yourself. I even decked myself one time just to see what would happen, and I would draw no cards, and I would be negative 200 life, and the guy still wouldn't concede. It's a win, but in
right.
in Mike, you appreciate, and Dave too. I mean, if you spend 30 minutes to get that one win, did you really win? I mean, because you could have played 5-6 games in that 30
Yeah.
minutes. So yeah, it's just it's like the guys they're punishing me for winning that way, and I don't even play it that often anymore because of that. It's just like I've actually won more times than 3 or 4, but it's annoying. I don't even like doing it anymore, so I rarely pull that deck out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I guess that's how they balance that card. They just made it so not fun for both people that you just decide to not even use it.
Yeah, yeah. And I could see this happening too because what happens, once you trigger, if you made it to the end and you triggered that you're going to win the game, well, they're not going to give up. They'll keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 'Cause I don't think it ends right then, does it?
Um. Well, this one, I think
Or
the
maybe it
person.
does.
Yeah, that one. It says they just lose the game, so it at least ends.
Yeah, well, that's good. Because Book of Life says I can't lose and they can't win.
Right.
It doesn't end the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like Platinum Angel.
Yeah, not Book of Life. Book of Exalted Deeds. Yeah, Platinum Angels. Yeah.
Um.
That-
All right. Up next is Necro Duality. It's an enchantment. It costs 3 and a blue. Reads whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature.
Hmm.
I feel like those are typically always really annoying in draft.
It's annoying to open them in your pick one pack one because you don't want to take it. No, I'm just kidding. But the Okay, so I guess I guess I'm going first.
Yeah.
That's the pattern here.
Yeah. We'll
Uh,
just
Yeah, I feel like some of these cards, like I didn't meant, like I'm sure like the blue Mythic Spirit card, like that card, if we're talking about other formats, like I'm sure like some sort of commander deck probably wants that in their 100. This card looks like it's gonna be wanted in like certain constructed formats, like because if you have like a zombie tribal deck, I'm sure this will get used somehow. But I think in standard, I mean, I don't think there's enough support for zombies for this to do anything. So to keep this one short and sweet, I'll say it's a thumbs down. But obviously, if there's a zombie tribal deck that appears, because these last two sets do have a decent amount of zombies in it, I mean, it could be broken. But I feel like 4 mana do nothing is kind of rough. I'll say if there's any sort of way for on the turn you cast this for tokens to be made somehow, some way, like I know there's like the card, like again, I mean I'm talking, I mean this could just be limited fodder, but like if there's like a zombie tribal deck that creates tokens that's already on the battlefield, and like you start making stuff instantly, it could snowball. I don't really know too many constructed level zombie cards though to begin with. So if these cards are bad enough that you don't want one of them, I don't think you're going to pay 4 mana to make 2 of them and like cost yourself an entire turn. Like when mono green is, putting a chariot out, or if like red is like playing their gold span dragon on turn 4. So
yeah.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to give this a thumbs down because for me, I don't play zombies. Let me say that. But there are zombie decks out there, and the fact that there's that one zombie that he gets a +1/+1 every time a zombie enters the battlefield, and then there's the other one that makes a zombie 2/2 with decay every turn. And I could see those zombie guys, and they're cheap. I mean, and then there's the blue, I can't think of him, the blue black that gives all zombies +1/+1.
It's scab, yeah.
Yes.
The first one's Champion of the Parish. The second one is Jadar, Ghoul Caller of something,
Yes.
and then Blade Stitch Scab. So
Yeah, so I could see like their curve is low. So I don't know. They may be able to pop this in, but turn 4 their hand might be empty anyway. So I don't know. I think the zombie people are going to try it. I mean, for me, it's a no. I don't have zombies, but I think the zombie people are going to try it. They're going to be all over it because the fact that they can copy a Jadar or copy any of those guys, they're a pain in the butt, man. The zombies are. They are. And yeah, I think they'll try it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking more for historic specifically here, I mean, zombies like are like a thing, and this would be pretty much. I mean, there's really not many. It's like there's no enchantments, and there's like little instants and sorceries. Like it's just like a lot of creatures. So I don't know. I mean, 4 mana do nothing definitely feels bad, but on the other hand, uh, it's like if you were just gonna get wiped anyway, and so it's like you put this out turn 4, and then his turn he does a board wipe because you already have like shit out from turns 1, 2, and 3. Then it's like you could then cast shit and like double it. Um, it might put the other person in like a bit of a predicament, but
Yeah.
uh,
I don't know. And the more I think about it, the more I'm turned off by it. But like
Yeah.
when you put that scenario out, think about it. They've laid a land and played a creature for 4 turns, right? So, and if they're on the play, how many cards do they have left in their hand when they lay this down? I mean, they're not laying much, unless
Right.
they have card draw. If they have card draw, they're doing something,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not in love with it,
Yeah,
but
me either.
yeah. Um,
I think we all agree on this one.
yeah.
I said I did, but the more I think about it,
Yeah.
I know the zombie people are going to be all over it. Though.
Yeah.
There's people that like travel, like Mike said. They like travel. They'll be on it. So,
Yeah, I actually I just saw something else on here, which yet again I think makes it worse. These are non-token zombies also.
right,
Yeah.
So
right.
like Jadar's zombie that gets made at the end of each end step, like you're not actually making 2 of those. It's like you're like like you could if you cast a Blade Stitch Scab, you can make 2 of those.
Right.
So like you're not really gonna make that like horde of decayed zombies that like you can use in certain ways, I guess. I think the bottom line is here, as far as standard goes, I don't think there's enough support for zombies, to my knowledge. Not that people don't try them, but I guess when I'm judging these cards, I'm thinking more like meta decks. So like anything like quote unquote tier 4 and above. I don't know if zombies are like a tier 4 deck. They might be more like a just a fun standard deck, or like a budget standard deck or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
that's
Jadar's
my
legendary. So yeah, I thought that Jadar was legendary. So you're not going to make another one of those anyway.
Well, Jadar's a human too, so it would be like, yeah. So, like you
Yeah.
would, yeah. I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
thumbs down, thumbs
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Thumbs
I
down. I'm with you.
yeah, it's actually I actually exactly like Keith. At first I wanted to say I liked it, but then the more we talked about it, like if you have to convince yourself a card's good, it's probably just garbage.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, yeah. So up next, the infamous Chandra, Dressed to Kill, the legendary Planeswalker, costs 1, a red and a red. Starts with 3 loyalty. The first, these aren't what are these? They're not like abilities technically, or are they? Anyway, her first ability, it's a +1. You add a red. She deals 1 damage to up to 1 target player or planeswalker. Her next ability is also a +1. Exile the top card of your library. If it's red, you may cast it this turn. Then she has a -7. Exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast red spells from among them this turn. You get an emblem with, whenever you cast a red spell, this emblem deals X damage to any target, where X is the amount of mana you spent to cast that spell. So, how you feel about this one, Mikey?
Okay. As far as limited goes, this card's really bad. Only because you have to be almost mono red for like any of it to really matter too much. So I mean, as far as like, okay, so as far as constructed goes, it's I feel I feel like it's not that great.
Yeah.
But I feel like because this second mono red isn't really a top meta deck, like how it normally is, to be honest. In standard, I'm sure if it becomes a deck, this will be in it, only because there's that little support for mono red right now. So like, this card would probably be one of the cards that might like make it a little more resilient and give you a little more like card advantage, I guess. But it's not exciting either way. So I still feel like it's fundamentally a thumbs down. but you know, I mean, it's almost. I mean, this one's like, if anything, it's like a thumb sideways thing. Like this is not the card. This is not the card that is going to take mono red over the top. I mean, that's for sure.
It's not going to
But-
change the game when it goes in.
Right. But it might. But if it becomes a deck, I could see this being in it. I guess. This isn't Torbrand. This isn't. Pretty much like this isn't on the power level of like any of the red cards from the last rotation, like Bone Crusher Giant. I know they're kind of different, but like Bone Crusher Giant was also 3 mana. It gave you card advantage. It had some like extra abilities.
It was a shock. Yeah, if you target it, it does 2 damage to it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah.
Right. So I feel like it's yeah, I'd say it's like a thumb sideways, but it wouldn't surprise me if like you turned it slightly upwards. But yeah, like okay, if this was like on a clock, and like 9 or 3 is like thumb sideways, I could see it like either going like 1 hour upwards or 1 hour downwards, and it wouldn't surprise me. So somewhere in there. I guess what that means is that it's a thumbs down. That's my. I guess that's what that means.
So it's in between 8 and 10.
Yeah, somewhere between 8 and 10. But I think the fact that it's between 8 and 10 makes it a fucking 6.
Yeah.
I mean, a freaking 6.
There you go. Yeah, and I'm with you. I think for a Planeswalker, it's. I'm sorry, I think it's trash. And I like red, and I like Chandra, but I mean, you get 1 red, and it deals 1 damage for that +1 ability. That's not that great. And then you can exile the top card of your library and play it. You'll never. I'd be surprised if someone ultimates, the -7. I mean, you have to go 4 turns to get it done, and I don't know if you'll get it done. But yeah, I think it's a bad mythic. I really do. I mean, for Chandra's, it's not that good. I mean, what that 4 cost when that was basically it wasn't a mythic, it was a gold. I can't even think of the name of it. It was better than this. I mean, it was yeah, I don't like it. It's a thumbs down for me. But I will, as a caveat, red players will get it because it's all they got. It's just, I agree with you there. They're gonna get it because that's what they have to do.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll do it. I'm giving it the thumbs up.
Oh,
with a bit of a catch. Yeah, I mean, mono red just sucks right now. But I think when it gets better, I think this will get used. I think this will definitely be in it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's 3 mana, but it's basically 2 mana,
Right.
because of the +1.
right.
And then after that, you basically get a free card every turn. So I think it'll get used. But not this set, but in future sets.
Right. I feel like with this card, like I feel like it's kind of like obviously Planeswalkers as usual are generically overpowered just because they do so much on one piece of cardboard.
Right.
Or digital cardboard. I feel like this card's best thing is like it's kind of like a light up the stage equivalent sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't really think you're ever doing the ultimate unless like it's lethal. Like you said, I think the play pattern is you do the first +1 the first time, and then you're just using the second +1 the rest of the time. So yeah, exactly. If red becomes a deck, this card will be in the deck, but it's not going to be the card that takes it over the top. It's not Embercleave. It's not Torbrand. It's not Bone Crusher Giant. It's not Robber of the Rich.
Yeah.
Not Arlen. The Arlen Planeswalker is phenomenal. I mean, it really is. But this one's lackluster. I just
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I feel like it's definitely more subtle than what we've had. Because in recent memory, they've loved just printing just completely ridiculous planeswalkers.
Yeah.
So I think they decided to tone them down for a couple of years, which is good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. After Oko.
Yeah, and Nissa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nissa. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah. And Ugin. I mean, Ugin was a bear to deal with too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugin. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this one's hard for me to like when I was doing the 8 to 10 thing. I guess that's what I was trying to say is that I'm kind of grading it. I'm like holding it. I'm like holding it. I'm holding against it the fact that red isn't a deck, and I guess that's not really fair. I just feel like red is it's supported so pitifully right this second that like it almost doesn't. This doesn't move the meter, but obviously it'll probably be played if it became one. So I guess it's kind of hard to like grade it,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they took a big hit. I mean, on rotation, red did. Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame. I feel like red is like it's like the release valve of Magic. When stuff gets too ridiculous, like red sort of keeps it in check.
yeah, just blows everything up.
All right, so up next we have a Ava Brook Caretaker. 6 mana, human werewolf creature. Costs 4 a green, 4 power, 4 toughness. So the front side has hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. And then it has daybound. So the nightbound is Hollowhenge Huntmaster. It's a werewolf creature. It has hexproof. Other permanents you control have hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. And it has nightbound. Oh, and it's a 6/6.
Okay. This card, as far as limited goes, this card is probably the strongest card in the set in limited. And it's definitely stronger in a vacuum than any of the Midnight Hunt rares or mythics. Only because hexproof, hexproof is inherently like like a very difficult keyword to ever have on a card, and because this card, it doesn't have like inevitability per se, in that like you don't automatically win the game, but like if you don't deal with this card, like it just sort of snowballs. So with that being said, in constructed, I feel like it's probably just too expensive. Because I feel like in constructed 6 mana, like give a creature +1/+1 counters, that doesn't feel like all that high of impact. Now, if there's any sort of like shenanigans that get done by putting +1/+1 counters on certain cards that like do things when they have counters on them or something, I could see this being like almost more like a combo piece. If there's some sort of werewolf deck that pops up, I mean, maybe this is like a curve topper, like one of type thing.
Yeah.
I actually want to like this card because I actually like sort of cards that are sort of like just like I like the I like this card almost as like an art piece. Like I know this is kind of like an older card, but I always like the design of it, even though people hate the design of it. Like Thrun, the Last Troll, where like it kind of just felt like an awesome card. It had like it regenerates, and I think it has hexproof too or something.
That's nasty.
Thrun. Yeah, what was this card?
I don't know.
It can't be countered. It has hexproof, and you can regenerate it, and it was a 4/4 for 4.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like I like right, yeah. I feel like that I want to like this card for constructed, but I think it's just a thumbs down. But I actually like the card, I guess. The only other thing I'll say, I guess, is like if a werewolf deck is able to manipulate day and night, and you're able to like get this on nighttime, so all your creatures have hexproof. You know, it's you know, I mean, that could be busted in some sort of like hasty attack thing. I don't know. Long story short, I feel like it's a thumbs down, but it's like I'm sad about it, I guess, because I actually like the card. I'm gonna hate it when when my opponent has it in limited. But as far as constructed goes, I feel like it's actually not. It's in that sweet spot where it's like broken and limited, but I think it's just not quite good enough in constructed.
Right. I think, and I'll go and I'll say I'm with you. I mean, I like the idea of it. I think if it went right, you could probably cast this on turn 4 in a werewolf deck if you have the naturalist in, if you have 2 of them in.
Yeah.
Turn 4, turn 5.
Yeah.
If you could do that consistently, I think this card would be a beast. And like you said, if you could get it flipped tonight, I mean, if you ran 1 or 2 in a werewolf deck, and I don't think it would ever hurt you, but it would just be. I mean, it'd be nice. I'd like to see it used, and I mean, I have a werewolf deck, and I would pop 2 in it just to see how well you could turn it. You know, 3 at the most. But yeah, I'm thumb sideways on it. I want to see it in action, but I will say this: out of the mythics we've seen, I like this one. I hate to say it, I think I like this one the best out of all of them so far. So,
Yeah.
thumb sideways for me on this one.
Yeah. And then the last thing I just want to say really quick, the one thing that also makes this a little bit stronger is that when you put it down in that first turn, as long as you do it in your pre-combat main phase, it still does something as soon as it comes down.
Right.
Which is also nice. And you know, the flip side, I didn't read it. I mean, I know I read it, but I kind of forgot about it. It does pump the whole team with counters. So I mean, it is powerful. I just feel like it's too. I feel like in Magic nowadays, it feels too fair. It feels like too fair of a card for constructed. So yeah, okay. So yeah, for me, it's a sad thumbs down. I want it to be a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No,
but yeah,
no, you didn't. No, you didn't cut me off.
yeah,
I just wanted because I was like looking at the card just
yeah.
now and double checking the backside.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're thumbs down, and I'm thumb sideways. I mean, I want it to work, and listen, what is that other big werewolf? He's 6 cost, right? What is he?
Oh, the one from Midnight Hunt, Tovalar's Huntmaster. Yeah. This card is better than that card.
Yeah,
I feel like the
and
other one makes.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say the other one does make bodies, but I feel like like that one doesn't have any sort of evasion on it, and like it does make bodies, which is, you know, obviously very good as far as card advantage goes.
Right.
But I feel like that one again, it's like too fair of a card. This one at least has the hexproof thing, so it's like it's very pesky when it hits the board.
Yep.
And again, I think this is kind of like the Chandra situation for me, where like I think I'm holding against it that it's like it doesn't have like a home. Now, actually, no. I mean, I'm thinking about it a little bit more. This card doesn't need any sort of like this isn't really werewolf based at all. So like this could actually maybe be like get into mono green somehow as like a one of maybe.
Yeah, good.
I just kind of thought of that now. So yeah, my thumbs down is it's kind of teetering. It's kind of vibrating at 6. Like I kind of want to shoot it back upwards, but I'm still going with it feels too fair. But maybe it's actually not fair at all. All right, I'm done.
You're like the you're like the guy in Gladiator where like your thumb is like sitting there and you're like moving it up and down slightly and everyone's in suspense wondering what you're going to do.
Right.
I give this a very situational thumbs up. And let me just this might just be me like trying to fit this somewhere, but let me paint this picture. So you're playing mono green or Gruul, and you're playing against mono green. I feel like this card in that situation would be really good.
Yep.
So like best of 3, I would say put like probably not 3 but 2 of these in the sideboard for sure. I mean with mono green like being everywhere. Cuz like if you're playing against somebody and they're mono green, I mean what are they going to do about this thing? Maybe it's just too slow, but
They can't. Yeah,
like,
but Blizzard Brawl doesn't get it, you know?
Yeah, I mean I feel like in those situations where it's like you're both just like sitting there like waiting for it's like the mono green versus mono green, you're both just like sitting there with like 50 creatures on the board. I feel like this is like the answer to that potentially.
Yes.
But it is 6 mana, so
Yeah, that does make sense though, as far as it being like a sideboard thing for sure.
yeah. I might be way off because again it's 6 mana, but I feel like that very specific circumstance might be used.
Yeah, but
So
in mono green you could still with the Sentinels, you could get if you pop 2 Sentinels on board, turn 5, you could pop this out easily,
mm-hmm.
Turn 4, turn 5. I mean, I've gotten Ren and 7 out in 4, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think the other part is that the I'm gonna take a wild guess here and assume that in standard, the opponent manipulating day and night is generally easier. Where like I know obviously like there are cards that in theory would be played in standard if you're playing a card like this where you could make sure it's night.
Right.
Like in a Gruul werewolf deck, like if Tovolar, like the 3 mana Tovolar's in it, and you have 3 or more werewolves out, it turns to night at the
Yes.
beginning of your upkeep, I think.
Yes,
So
that's
like you can kind of keep it night at all times on your turn.
Yep.
So like you could be pumping all your creatures and having hexproof. So like again, I mean, this is why like I want to like it, but I feel like it feels it just feels slow, I
A little
guess.
clunky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my soliloquy on that card.
All right, well, here's the next soliloquy card. Hopeful Initiate. It's a human warlock creature, 1 white mana, 1 power, 2 toughness. It has training, and it has an ability which is 2 and a white. Remove 2 +1/+1 counters from among creatures you control. Destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Hopeful. Sorry, I'm actually looking this one up. Hopeful Initiate. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Okay, I mean, I'll say the easy answer here is I could see this being a in White Weenie. I mean, obviously, I think if Chariot remains like a problem, this could be like the best of solutions as far as killing chariots while still keeping creatures in your deck instead of it being like a random spell and having to take out creatures. I don't know if that's optimal anyway, because this is also slower because you need to have +1/+1 counters. I do know that any White Weenie deck is going to have Luminarch Aspirants in it, but
Right.
even still, I mean, those build up like once per turn. I don't know. I'm gonna say thumbs down on it. The 1/2 training thing is slightly intriguing, but I know when I'm playing White Weenie, and again, I mean, I actually haven't used like the new iteration of White Weenie because I kind of got stuck in limited, where like it's actually a lot of the Midnight Hunt cards that got added. I was using like the double spell reward cards.
Oh, yeah, they're still using those. Yep.
Right. But I feel like I feel like you generally I mean, forcing your Luminarch Aspirant into an unfavorable combat. It's like it's one of those things where like I feel like you're gonna get this to a 2/3 every once in a while. Unless like you're like obviously winning because you have like a good start, so you're at like your Hopeful Initiate. I'm trying to think of like the sequencing of how this would even work. It's like you put Hopeful Initiate out, you put Luminarch Aspirant out. So obviously this card could attack like, turn 2 by itself. Turn 3, it's a 1/2, and then your Luminarch Aspirant's a 3/3. And then you swing in, so like this becomes a 2/3. I feel like this card, like, it feels like it's like one of those things where if you're on the play, you can swing turn 3 with a Luminarch Aspirant and this, and then like all of a sudden there's, you have 3 counters on the board. I don't know. I mean, I know Usher of the Fallen seems to be the Usher of the Fallen, and then Monk of the whatever it's called, Monk of the Fist, Monk of the Cool Fist,
Yeah.
Open Fist, Monk of the Open Fist.
I like Iron
Yeah,
Fist.
yeah. I mean, this card feels semi-comparable. It's not exciting by any means. I'd say, if I'm giving it I'm not excited by it. I don't know. It just feels slow. It feels slow. But like even though it's a 1-mana creature, but like the bonus element feels slow. I'm trying to think of like other artifacts or enchantments in Constructed that are also used. That like you'd want to actually like take power and toughness off your creatures to get rid of. The only one I can even think of is Chariot. And I feel like if you're taking power and toughness off, I don't know. I don't know if a dinky 2/3 can attack into a mono green board to even start getting counters on it,
Yeah.
So it's almost like this thing just sits there, and then you let your Luminarch Aspirant do all the work, and then you take power off the board to kill a Chariot. Yeah, I mean, mono white already has answers, I guess. Like that's what Skyclave Apparition's already for. So the more I'm talking myself through this soliloquy, it's a thumbs down.
Yeah, I like the idea that it is a 1-cost 1/2, but the 1-drop slot for. I mean, you have Usher of the Falling. It's a 1-cost 2/1 that you could create a 1/1. You've got Stonebinder's Familiar in the 1 slot, and then, I mean, those are great cards, and they. I mean, the one requires mana to activate, but they're good cards. They're good 1-drops. I don't know. I mean, if you wanted a creature, that can take out artifacts or enchantments as a sideboard, there's the Cathar Commando. It's got flash. one cost you sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or creature. It's a 2 cost, 3/1 with flash. I mean,
Right.
you could drop something like that on opponent's turn and kill anything right away, or attack and then kill. I'm with you. I mean, I like the fact that it's a 1 drop, but yeah, I don't think for what it is, you're getting anything that's really of value, unless this training thing is something I don't see. I just don't think it's a good card. Thumbs down for me.
Yeah, then the last, because I keep thinking of one more thing after Keith always goes. The last thing I just saw, because I wanted to check this just in case too. I feel like the creature type is it's also bad because I know there are cleric decks
Right, it's not a
where
cleric.
if it was a cleric, I could see how like those decks seem to snowball. Where like if this was a cleric, I could see it fitting in there. That's just like sort of like a way to just like repeatedly snipe like random artifacts and enchantments, but it's not. So okay, so yeah, it makes it worse. All right, sorry.
No, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
cleric. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll say Mike really talked me out of the training mechanic. Because going into this, I was like on board the training train. But yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean we'll see when we actually like play with them, but yeah, it's like you put yourself into like very like potentially very shitty situations. Uh Now having said that, uh I mean yeah, I don't know. I mean I don't know. I actually like this card, but you guys really talked me out of it. Uh it's kind of crazy how far we've gone in Magic where a 1 mana 1/2 with like 2 decent abilities is like garbage.
Yeah. I don't say it's garbage, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, Dave, you can go.
okay. Well, yeah, I mean that's really about all I got. I mean, I I don't know. I mean, I was in love with the second ability, uh, as like a sideboard thing, but it just seems awfully like it seems awfully dirtily. And if there's something you like have to get rid of, like this thing, it's like what this thing even. It's like this thing can't reliably do that unless you're already like stomping the guy. It feels like
Right. Yeah.
so. Thumbs down.
And,
Right.
yeah, and here I go. I'm gonna add a little bit to it, but it's like this. I play best of one, so I'm not sideboarding. So you try to build or have everything you need within your 60 cards. You know what I mean? If you need artifact enchantment removal, if you can put that on a creature, like that Cathar Commando or the Skyclave Apparition, something that can handle this permanence without, something like this that's extra. This is just extra. I mean, yeah, it's tough. You want something efficient and I don't know. My play style is just I try to keep pressure on. If you force people to make decisions, I hope that 6 out of 10 times they're making a bad choice. And but as long as I'm making them make the decision, I don't have to make a decision. But that's
Mhm.
it. I'm sorry. We can keep going.
Yeah, I'll say this about just the training ability overall, the mechanic, I should say. I feel like this is a mechanic that really skews being on the play or on the draw in general.
Good point.
Because if you're on the play, trading will be more effective most of the time, just inherently because you're one step ahead. So like I can see how, okay, you put this card out, you put the Luminarch Aspirant out, and as long as you're maintaining, like, without having to deal with like double blocks and any of that nonsense, or if you're actually trying to attract a double block eventually, like, this card will always gain a +1/+1 counter as long as that Luminarch Aspirant is gaining a +1/+1 counter.
Right.
As long as like you can keep swinging with it. So like I feel like it's a snowball effect, but I feel like the general problem with these training cards is they understat them. So it's like it's very being on the play oriented for them to be effective in general. So in general it doesn't really excite me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
And then the last thing is Xavier of Allenbock is also a 1/2, and that's 3 mana, and this is 1 mana. So I actually feel like this card is better than Xavier of Allenbock and White Weenie potentially.
Yeah, I give you that.
So yeah, okay. Now I'm done with the soliloquy.
Okay. All right. One other. But think about this. So this is where training. Like, I didn't even think about all this, but like white. All right. So you drop this guy turn 1, the aspirant on 2, and then Adelaine on 3. So turn 4, I mean, your Adelaine is always going to be a higher power than this. You know what I mean? And so it's constantly going to grow. I don't know. I mean, but every time you attack with this guy with something larger, you're offering something up for sacrifice. You know what I mean? One of them's going to die. So yeah. Okay, I'm done. That's my soliloquy.
All right. On to the next one. Ascendant Pack Leader. It's a green wolf creature. It costs 1 green, 2 power, 1 toughness. Ascended Pack Leader enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. If you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater, whenever you cast a spell with mana 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Ascended Pack Leader.
Okay. Okay. Okay, okay, let me look up this one card before I say it, because obviously it's very similar to that one. Let me look this up super quick. Okay, obviously I feel like the comparison card to this one is Pelt Collector. I feel like this card, I feel like this card's a little bit worse. Only because this one isn't just anything
Right.
higher power than it. It has to be like a 4 thing. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like a decent 1-drop for mono green, I guess, only because it does grow and scale with the game. I actually I know we've been talking about mono green a lot, but I actually kind of forget what their 1-drop situation is.
Sentinels. Yeah.
Oh, right, the Sentinels. Okay. I mean, like let's say mono green becomes more of like a stompy oriented thing, which I'm sure there are builds like that, but I don't know how the whole Ren and 7 Chariot thing fit in that type of situation. I feel like this card will obviously get played in mono green if they want a 1-drop that does this kind of thing. I do feel like the Sentinel is kind of more versatile. I feel like the reach thing is sneakily relevant on Sentinel too. And obviously like ramping more or less, like when the time is right, you can do that with Sentinel also. So I feel like it's decent, I guess, but it's not it's not exciting. Like for me, this is a thumb sideways because like I can totally see this being played if 1-drops are needed in mono green. but it doesn't feel quite as good as Pelt Collector did. So that's that for me. So this is like a sideways, but it's probably like a thumbs up, but I'm just not that excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a sideways. Maybe this is an 11 o'clock for me.
Yeah.
I'm not taking out a Sentinel to put this in, and I'm not going to take out the what is the two green wolf. That's 3/3 that lets you draw cards. Ugh, can't my
Yeah,
mind.
the pack leader.
Yeah, the pack leader.
The,
Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm not.
whatever.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to take out the pack leader for this, or the troll. So I don't see where it fits. But I do like the fact that I agree it's worse than Pelt Collector, but at least it doesn't limit it to creature. It's just any spell 4 or greater. So, but that only gives you what the Chariot, Ren and 7. The decks that run the Storm the Festival. Really, that's about it over and above, and unnatural growth, but that's it. So I don't know. I just don't think you'll gain that much on the ability, on the +1 ability.
Yeah, and I guess as tradition, I thought of one more thing after you said stuff, Keith.
Well, we bounce off each other. That's good.
Yeah, because it gives me a moment to like stare at the card one last second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess more or less like this card is like it's meant to be efficient early and late. Like so, like late, chances are you have a Chariot out already. So like it comes down as a 3/2, or if you put it down early and it survives, eventually it'll start pumping. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good, but it's just not like it doesn't feel like broken or anything. It is a 1-drop, so maybe the way we're talking about it is that it's a good 1-drop, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a Knight of the Ebon Legion or something though, where it's like a broken 1-drop type thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't have trample. I mean, it grows, but it doesn't have trample. So a 1/1 will block it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm a little flip-floppy on this one. Initially I was with Keith. The real problem being there's just not that many 4 mana or up cards that they use at the moment. That being said, I feel like I don't know. The problem with like any like card with counters on it, it's like you just think about mono white and how easily like things like go out of control with counters. And it's like this doesn't do that. But I mean I feel like I feel like this thing is pretty often it's gonna be a 1 mana 3/2.
Right.
So
yeah, that's not bad when you say it like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wanna give this a thumbs up, but I'll regret it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
We're tough critics, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're just not happy with anything.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 mana 3/2. Yeah, that's garbage.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Well, I stayed at 11 o'clock on this one, so yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Up next, we have Curse of Hospitality. It's a enchantment aura curse. It costs 2 and a red. It reads enchant player. Creatures attacking enchanted player have trample. whenever a creature deals combat damage to an enchanted player, that player exiles the top card of their library. Until end of turn, that creature's controller may play that card, and they may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think. I mean, honestly, this kind of feels like a bad planeswalker that like you'd rather just like skip, like trying to kill type thing. I don't know. I mean, if you're in mono red, like red deck wins. I don't think wins games off like a 3-mana card that doesn't actually do anything on its own. So I mean, I think the easy answer is that this is a thumbs down. If there's some sort of like 2-colored deck where like, you know, maybe cards that are like outside the scope of like my knowledge, like maybe they want something like this. Maybe some sort of like combo thing where like you put this down and you have some sort of like 50 power creature or something with like haste that all like magically, you know, gets made by wizards that moment and then gets printed and then gets played in your game.
Yeah. You just
but
gave me
yeah,
a great
so
idea.
right.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like it's just a thumbs down, just in the basic anecdotal knowledge of how like red aggro decks work, where like a 3-mana card that doesn't do anything feels slow. Now I do know that, you know, I guess in a tiny sense there's a little bit of what do you want to call it, like a light up the stage type of effect going on in here. But generally, you know, light up the stage, at least you can cast it and you didn't have to do any damage. Where this one like is predicated on doing damage to actually even see the cards. So I just feel like it's not that good. Unless there's something I'm missing here. For me, it's just an easy thumbs down.
Okay. I'm thumbs up on this one. Okay, so if you pop this in a Gruul, okay, and you're going against Izzet, and you curse them with this card. If I'm reading this wrong, you guys tell me. So you curse them with the card, you attack, and even if they have something out there, all your creatures gain trample, so you're gonna do damage to them. Okay. And so that player exiles the top card of their library. So you get to look at the top card of their library. It goes into exile, and you can cast it if you have the money, if you have the mana. So well, now that I think about it more, you're only looking at one card. It's not like you can mill them out with this. I don't know.
Watching the set, I only because I just want to make sure that we all understand this card right. Based on the set review that I was watching yesterday, it's worded it's very complicated wording, but you essentially the creature's controller exiles their top card.
Right,
I
their
believe.
top card. Yes, that's the way I read it. Yes.
Right. So you're looking at your own cards.
Yeah. Well, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This sucks. I thought I liked it there for a second. But yeah, I was thinking if you did 10 damage, you got to look at 10 cards. That would be awesome. But no, forget it. I don't like it. Thumbs down.
Um, hmm. Um, I really want to give this a thumbs up, but probably should. I feel like I feel where Keith was feeling, where you just use it on the other person.
Right.
I don't know. It just I want to like it. I would be so happy if this card actually like found play, but probably won't. Which kind of annoying. So so that's my final word. I want to like it, but probably garbage.
I feel like with card effects like these, a lot of times like if you're a mono green player and you're going against, is it or something. Like, first of all, you had to spend the 3 mana act to put this down already. Like,
Right.
it's got to be very selective. Like, you got to get lucky kind of to even get a card that's castable. And, like, think about, like, how, like, focused decks are in general, where, like, you getting an expressive iteration that maybe the following turn when you actually have open mana to cast it. I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem that great.
Yeah.
And like if you're mono white and you have 4 mana out and then like you do get a gold span dragon, I don't know. I mean, then it's kind of just like, you're like a mill deck almost, where it's like, oh, you like denied them one of their like whatever card it just so happened to be. I don't know. It just it feels very non-impactful.
What'd be great if you could look at 3 cards or something like that and choose one. That would be good. That would be busted. But yeah, this is nah.
Right. Like there's that card from the previous / current set, Siphon Insight, where like
card.
Right, like I mean like that card is 3 mana or 2 mana and then 3 mana. And it's like you get to keep that card forever, more or less.
Yeah.
Where like this is like just until the end of the turn. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a high impact. That's my guess.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Up next we have Voice of the Blessed. It's a spirit cleric creature. It costs a white and a white. 2 power, 2 toughness. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. As long as it has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. As long as it has 10 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has indestructible.
Oh.
Well, okay. As far as all the cards we talked about so far, again, a lot of these have been conditional because I don't really know exactly what decks are prevalent now or what decks will form, because like that's kind of going outside what I'm talking about when I'm looking at these cards. This card is the biggest thumbs up of all the cards we've looked at so far, only because if there's any sort of deck that deals with life gain, and I feel like the cleric decks do. Like this card seems like a very snowbally and very, it's a turn 2 card. Yes, it's 2 white mana, but I think cleric decks are black white. This card seems like a massive high impact card. Just because it'll become a very ridiculous threat pretty quickly. Like unlike a lot of these cards where like they were kind of slow in like their effect, like this one could be a 4/4. How does it go? I mean, like if it's like a vanilla 5/5 on turn 4, I mean that's already pretty scary. And then the next turn it's like an 8/8 flying vigilance, and then like the turn after that, it has indestructible all of a sudden. Like this card, I mean this card you're getting a lot out of 2 mana. So this one's a thumbs up. I just don't know if I think there's a cleric deck already, and if there's any sort of like, mono white Heliod Daxos kind of deck that like pops up ever again, obviously this card will be in it. So this is constructed playable 200%. It's just the home, and I think there is a home already, but I just you guys can correct me on that. So yes, thumbs up thumbs up.
This is a big thumbs up. I'm with you. I have a cleric deck. I could put this in now. But I mean, you add Valkyrie to this, and Book of Exalted Deeds. Oh my gosh, you'll ramp this thing up by. I would not be surprised if by turn 5, it would not be a 10-10. You know, I'm excited about this. This one makes me happy.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's the best card we've seen. With David, did you save it for the last one? This is it. I love it.
No, we're like right at the halfway point, actually.
Wow.
But
thumbs up to me, man. This is gas, is what
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah, I agree. This is like one of the very few cards where we can actually talk about like historic for it, I think. Like mono white life gain, it's not like a huge thing in a historic, but it is a thing. And I feel like this is just good enough where I feel like we'll see it slightly more often. Because I mean, they just use a Johnny's Pride mates still,
Right.
and this thing is just like better than that. And I would say like better by like a pretty good margin. So, yeah, so yeah, definitely good. I mean, I don't, obviously it's not gonna like, like shit on Jun Food all of a sudden, but it's good for sure.
Yeah, the other small thing I'm adding, like as far as historic goes, blah blah blah. I think because it's 2 white, it accelerates Heliod's devotion number also. So yeah, I mean this card obviously is a monster in any sort of historic mono white life gain based deck. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we got Hamlet Vanguard. It's a human warrior creature. It costs 2 and a green. It's 1 power, 1 toughness. It has Ward 2, and Hamlet Vanguard enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it for each other non-token human you control.
I'll keep this one simple. It's thumbs down. That's it.
Okay. Wow, that was like 15 minutes shorter than the last one.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say anything else.
Yeah, 3 costs 1/1. I'm gonna say thumbs down as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's fair. I also give it a thumbs down. I only have it on here because, you know, humans are like a thing. But even I don't know. Let me just bring up this humans deck really quick to see if there's some like magical way. I mean, it looks like they don't really even use. I mean, they sort of splash green in here. Oh, that's just for, yeah. They always splash green for collected company. So,
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's like if the wet dream scenario happens where this thing's like, I don't know, like an 11/11 for 3 mana or something.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it just seems like a win more card. So, I don't know. Thumbs down, but I'll probably be wrong and people will hate me, but whatever. Fuck it.
Well, they hate all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no one's listening anyway, so what difference does it make? All right, so up next we have Kessig Wolf Rider. It's a human creature knight. Costs 1 red mana. It's 1 power, 2 toughness. It has menace, and you can pay 2 and a red and tap it, and also exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Create a 3/2 red wolf creature token.
I feel like this one's also keeping it simple, but it is. I think it's better than Vanguard for sure. It's I feel like it's a thumbs down because it just feels like you need 3 cards in your graveyard to make a 3/2. It just doesn't seem that good. So I'm just going thumbs down.
Okay, what was the name of it again? I'm sorry.
Kessig Wolf Rider.
Wolf Rider.
Yeah. I'll go while you look it up. Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe down the road it'll be a sideboard card. You know, I mean, it's like it would be a good sideboard card if Rogues was good, but it's not. You know, I mean, Rogues is okay,
Yeah.
but it's not played enough. So, I would just say hold on to your wild cards, and maybe later, but definitely not now.
If it had haste, I think I'd be a little more interested in it because then you could like, you know, drop it like on a later turn if you top deck this garbage, and then like start making like 3/2 tokens, like trying to create value out of like all your burn spells that are in the graveyard or something. Yeah. I mean, mono red does not want a if they're gonna have a 1-drop, they'd rather have like that knight from the last rotation, whatever that one's called.
Fervent Champion.
Yeah, that has like first strike and haste.
And he gets other nights. Yeah.
Right. Like like this doesn't feel snowbally, explosive, or anything. It feels like it's not a red card almost.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's got a tap ability, almost like a white card. I don't know. Yeah, I'm thumbs down on it too. I mean, it doesn't replace any of the 1/1s that's in the red decks now. You know, the goblins. Yeah, this doesn't replace those. It's worse. So yeah, I'm with you. Thumbs down.
Mm-hmm.
And then my last little nugget is generally on like pre-sales, cards are like very overpriced. The pre-sale cost for this card is 79 cents, and the set isn't even out yet. So,
and it's a rare.
right. It's a rare, and it's 79 cents, and the set's not even out yet. Like it's going to be bad.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we have by invitation only. It's a sorcery, costs 3, a white, and a white. It reads, choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures.
Well, yeah, this is one of these situations where, especially when it comes to like control decks and standard, because I know like there are like blue-white control. There are white-based control decks I think that exist in standard right now.
Yes.
I don't know what tiers they are. I feel like modal board wipes, are always kind of powerful. I think the fact that their sacrifice gets around indestructible, which is always good. I feel like this is a pretty good board wipe, to be honest. I don't know if for 5 mana, if that's like, it's not a, I know board wipes generally, like if they're anywhere between like 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, depending on what they do, like they tend to get played if like the meta dictates it. So I feel like it's probably good. I mean, I feel like it's probably a thumbs up only because of the modal capability. And as long as your opponent doesn't have more than 13 creatures, you're gonna have a nice deal out of it. And of course, and again, I don't really know how many decks that are creature based are going to. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a thumbs up for me. It's definitely a thumbs up. But I don't know what situations where like you're gonna actively be having creatures out, where you're gonna like I mean, if there's some sort of white-based control deck that has like 4 creatures out and they have 2, and like I guess that works. Or if it's like a like a man-land based control deck where your creatures obviously survive and then theirs all have to die. Yeah, it feels like a good board wipe with like a nice selective capability. So thumbs up. I'm not really like that excited about the card, obviously.
Yeah, I'm like you. It's a thumbs up, and the fact that it is sacrifice gets rid of Predator, the Innistrad Predator, and yeah, I like it. There's a blue-white Azorius deck that this will go into. Somebody will have that in there in a heartbeat. But yeah, and it's Epiphany, or no, basically what they come down the Liar. Yeah, I believe that's how you say his name. But yeah, this is yeah, it'll go in that deck. It's thumbs up though. This is good removal.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you guys. I sort of, I mean, it's just like a board wipe, so it's just sort of whatever. But I put it in here for the specific reason which you guys both mentioned, the sacrifice part. I feel like these cards are really important in Magic. When you have to deal with garbage like Dream Trawler and it's like those cards where you just like you just like roll your eyes because the game just got like incredibly not fun all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And this is like it's a very reliable answer to like the not fun cards of the world. So,
Yeah.
whatever. Good sideboard card for control decks out there. So yeah, thumbs up in the keep the game like fun and reasonable department. So
yeah.
Yeah, Magic is at the peak of fun when a board wipe is fun.
Yeah, what happens if you choose one more than what they have? Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just do that for fun.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just build a board wipe tribal deck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Uh,
that would be a nightmare. Devastating Mastery. That's a good one. That gets rid of everything. Enchantments all.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
All
Yeah.
right, up next we have Alchemist Gambit. It's a sorcery. It costs 1, a red and a red. It has cleave, and the cost is 4, a blue, and a red. And it reads, take an extra turn after this one. During
Gosh.
that turn, damage can't be prevented. And then in the cleave brackets, it's at the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game, and then you exile Alchemist Gambit.
Well, I mean, I feel like if any Is It Turns deck actually wanted another set of 4 take extra turn cards, I mean, maybe they'll use it.
With iteration, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like this is one of these cards that, I feel like these 7 mana take extra turn cards, they seem to find their way into decks. I know there already is one of those right now. And I know this one doesn't make like 2 birds, but there might be some sort of like modal use for the actual like normal cost as well. Where like if beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can win by just casting it, and like that's all the available mana you have, and like they're tapped out, so you're not gonna like screw yourself over, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the type of card where like I'm sure it will show up eventually, because take extra turn cards always seem to do that. So And 7 mana, for whatever it's worth, is comparatively costed to what they generally are. So I'll say thumbs up, but I don't really care.
Yeah, yeah. I hate this card already. I'm telling you, Izzet is my boogeyman. But yeah, they'll have it. You know, I almost want to build a Gruul deck for this though, and just add that in, and then when you can do the kill turn, you know, cast it for the kill turn. I mean, I could see doing that. I like it. It's a thumbs up, and I may use it. I may try. Yeah, I think if you put it in Gruul, you wouldn't need maybe one or two, two at the most. You know, because it is situational. It's when you know you can finish the game. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah, and then
it's
oh,
too
sorry.
bad it's not an instant. I wish it was an instant. You could do it at end step, you know, right at the end, and then make them quit because that's what they would do. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, it's my turn again. Sorry. Yeah, and then the damage can't be prevented clause, like it gives this one like its own element of uniqueness. I
Right.
don't really know, like, you know, how big of a deal that is, but I guess, like, you know, you if you have some sort of like burn spell or yeah, blah blah blah. I don't know. It sounds like it has like its unique effect, and its take extra turn cards always seem to get played. So I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll get like broken somehow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's only 3 mana. I mean, yeah. I hate it already.
I am buying this card. The Timmy in me can't stress enough how much I like this card for Gruul specifically. Uh, I I I I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's garbage, but uh, I feel like it's fun enough where I would it's like it's fun enough where I would use it even if it's not like the best thing to do. Uh, like I feel like in Gruul it's pretty good. Like
I'm with you.
you wouldn't cast it on turn 3. You would cast it on, like, I don't know, like maybe turn 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's like if it's turn 4 or 5 and you're not currently board wiped, if you cast this, I mean, sounds like you're in a pretty good spot, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so, uh, yeah, but like he said, in Is It, I mean, this might be the most annoying card of all time, just because it just gives, uh, it just like another annoying piece to that. Is it pile? So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. We'll see. I might end up loathing this card, but uh,
Yeah, what would be great, and I was what was that card where you could gift someone? Was it donate? What was that?
um,
No, it wasn't donate. You could gift someone a card. You know what I mean? I can't think of what it was, but it would be great if you could activate the cleave and then give it to them, and then they lose the game. You know? I don't know.
hmm.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I thought you could used to be able to do that. It was years ago though. But
Oh,
yeah.
like some sort of combo deck thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could give them, you could activate it, give it to them, and then they lose the game. Yeah, that would be great. Hey, Wizards, create that card for me for Iz.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All
Yeah,
right. But
I'm sure Mark Rosewater is listening to us right now.
yeah.
He's gonna take our advice.
He's the guy in India. And in India, thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mike, we have a listener in England and one in India, and then there's 4 in America.
Nice.
So somebody's
Following
listening.
growth. Yeah, I love it.
All right, up next.
Oh, it was I want to say this. It was donate, but it's a permanent. Target player gains control of target permanent you control. Yeah. Okay. So you could give them something nasty. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I need to. I feel like this next one, not a rare. I think it's a common. It's Thirst for Discovery. Might be an uncommon. Someone finds it first, they can read it. Because
Okay.
it's a blue card, right? It's like one of those blue cards.
Oh my gosh.
Where
Yeah. I got it if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's Thirst for Discovery. Its mana cost is 2 colorless, 1 blue. It's an instant, and the card text reads: draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards, unless you discard a basic land card. And it's an uncommon. And go ahead, Mike. Unless you're ready.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like generally blue, blue people like, not only do they like drawing cards, but they like digging deep into their library too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. My guess here is I know power creep even since like I was playing like 2 years ago with like M20 and like divination. Like divination was obviously played.
Yep.
But I know like, power creep has definitely happened since then. This is one of those cards where I could be wrong on. I mean, I feel like it's like I don't really know like the full suite of blue card draw right this second. Like what like Izzet's playing, for example. Maybe I should look at that before I give the final answer. I feel like the answer is probably like thumbs. It's probably a thumbs up. But maybe like expressive. Hold on, let me just look at this nonsense.
Yeah, while you do that, like Luge is one of their big draw engines. And they also, what is the one they do for the lesson card? They get that one too. Yeah, they have plenty of draw engines, but yeah.
Yeah, where's that expressive iteration? Look at the top 3, one of them into your hand, but one of them. That's only a sorcery too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess like memory deluge for 4 feels kind of more powerful than this one is, I guess. But I feel like with blue, like there's no limit to how many card draw spells they like having either.
That's right.
So like I could see it being like a 2 of or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Like maybe the 2 mana card draw spells, and then they have like the 3 drop slot covered by something else. I'm gonna say the answer is yes, only because drawing 3 cards, even if you have to discard some things, doesn't seem like that big of a drawback. I mean, I guess like the I guess like the nightmare scenario for this card, if we're trying to think of the worst part, is if like you have no cards in hand. So it's like, let's say this is the last card in your hand, and then you draw the 3 cards, and you don't get a land, so you only get to actually keep 1. It's almost like a bad anticipate then, I guess, or whatever, or like brainstorm. It's like a 3 mana brainstorm, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not exactly brainstorm, because I know this one you put them in the graveyard. That's like bottom of your library, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the floor of it isn't that awful, and then like the ceiling feels pretty high. Like if you like, obviously get a mountain or an island in your 3 cards you drew. I mean, it could just be in your hand already also. I don't know.
Right.
The more I'm thinking about it, it doesn't feel that bad, but it might just be like they already have better card draw spells. I'm just saying thumbs up. And I could be wrong, but it seems pretty all right, I guess. It's an instant too, like if
Yeah.
So
Do it instant.
uh,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think it's a thumbs up for blue. I typically, like I said, don't play blue unless it was, like a Merfolk or the daggone road deck. I like that. But yeah, it's thumbs up for blue for me. It is an instant. And the one thing that they may get bid on is the basic land. If they are running they may get but like you said, they may already have one in their hand when they cast it anyway. So yeah, they just plan for it. Right. So thumbs up for blue. I'm with you on that.
I was literally just about to give it a thumbs up, but then Keith mentioned it's a basic land, which really changes my opinion because I was gonna say this card is like fucking great for like Jeskai control and hit in historic.
Right.
But
I didn't.
yeah, the fact that it's a basic land, I think this card sucks.
Yeah. I see. I didn't read the card.
Yeah.
I screwed up. I punted on the podcast.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was about to if I didn't go after Keith. So
Yeah. Yeah, I still say. I mean, I think like I'm thinking, is it they run basic lands because they got to have them, and yeah, I think.
yeah. No,
I think
it's yeah.
Well, how about if there's any sort of like mono blue deck or something like that, this card would probably be maybe not the card draw of choice because it still might have Deluge in it too.
yeah.
But like if there's any sort of like mono-colored blue deck, then this seems pretty powerful
Oh
to
yeah.
get around that.
Yeah, you could deluge and then grab this out of your deluge as well, and then yeah. Listen, you said it right, Mike. Blue likes to dig, and this lets them dig, and they'll be happy to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that basic land thing does change it for sure.
Yeah, it does. That's that little bit of text makes a difference.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty crafty when they wrote this one. I should know the answer to this, but is a snowland a basic land?
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sort of gave up on the thumbs up and down thing, but I don't know. I would give this I don't know. Not a thumbs down, but
Right.
not really a thumbs up either. Closer to thumbs up, I guess.
Yeah, like an 830. Like a 945.
All right. Did we? Oh, okay. Yeah, we did that one. So
Yeah.
Thirst for Discovery. The next one, it's the one that I think me and Mikey were talking about, the Kessig Flame Breather. That's like the that's the red guy. He does the thing where like when you cast something, he like deals 1 damage or something. Where the heck is it? If you see it, you can. Oh, I see it. All right. Yeah. So Kessig Flame Breather. It's a human shaman creature. Costs 1 and a red. 1 power, 3 toughness. It reads, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Kessig Flame Breather deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Okay, I will go first on this one because, as you said, I had brought this one up earlier, and I didn't really think the card all the way through. So I know I like bragged about this card to both you guys a couple days ago. The main thing that I didn't really think about was that, unlike Thermo Alchemist, which was in the previous set, this card, now it's better on the first turn that it's out for sure, and there are many situations where it can be better. This card doesn't automatically get one per turn.
Right.
And I when I was talking to you guys about this card, I didn't think about that part of it. So I would say if there's any sort of deck that ever were to pop up where like you're pinging from doing non-creature spells, where like you would want 8 of these, like it would be in that deck. But I don't really think this card's that. I mean, as far as constructed goes, I feel like this is kind of a thumbs down. Unless like some sort of pinger deck comes into play, or like some sort of like Torbrand. And again, I'm talking about standard right now.
Right.
Like maybe some sort of weird Torbrand Thermo Alchemist Flame Breather deck could exist in historic or something. But I feel like, I mean, it's a thumbs down. It feels pretty slow. It does create some sort of inevitability, but you're also like at the mercy of card draws and like having like cards to actually like fuel this thing.
Right.
So I'd say it's a thumbs down. Not quite as exciting as I thought it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm thumbs down with it. I like the Alchemist better. The Alchemist would untap when you cast a spell, right? You could tap and untap. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the Alchemist better.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, thumbs down for me. It is a common, but it's what you would expect out of a common. I'm surprised that it wasn't a rare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is probably a better rare than that other one, the 3 mana one. So,
Oh, well, this guy's just a common.
yeah. Yeah, no, I was saying he's probably better than that
Oh,
3
yeah.
mana white
Yes.
rare. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I got you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thumbs down from me.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's the name of that card? I feel like it was in Ikoria. It was like a 3 mana creature. It was a red creature, and I think like when she would I forget what triggered it, but it's like she would do 3 damage to an opponent or any target.
Cycling. When you drew your second card per turn.
Right.
That was
Okay.
nuts. Yeah, that card sucked. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So like that, yeah, like that card is a much more explosive version that this is. So like, this card I think just thumbs down.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it a thumbs down. It's a card I want to like. I always like. I've always been a fan of the red decks that are like very one-dimensional, like the Cavalcade red deck, the burn decks, whatever. And it's like this in theory would fit right into where the what's the name of the card? Thermo Alchemist. It's like we even played against that in that historic qualifier.
Right. I saw that.
So it's like in theory this would just like fit right next to him, but I don't know. I that deck just seemed really underwhelming to me. So thumbs down for now. Well, it might change in the future.
Right. I feel like actually the sort of shell that Thermo Alchemist was best in limited is actually the way, if this card ever really got there, it would be the same in constructed, where I think it would be an Izzet based deck where it's really not about drawing like damage spells. It's really about drawing card draw spells, so you just keep casting spells.
Right.
Like that Boros deck, once you run out of gas, like you only have so many burn spells, you're just done. Like the blue red Innistrad archetype where like Thermo Alchemists just destroy everything. Yeah, it's like startles, considers, blah blah blah. It's all like card draw based. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe like if this deck, if this card found a home in some sort of thing. Yeah, right. No, I know another form of visit. But yeah, so yeah, whatever.
You're scaring me. You want me to sleep tonight?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I do actually want to point out. I'm not saying this card would fit that role, but I know in like control versus control mirrors, sometimes they toss in these like random little annoying creatures that like you don't want to use a board wipe on it, but they're just annoying enough where you have to like answer eventually.
Yep.
You know, like I know Spectral Sailor was one of those cards, and that goblin from Ravnica, the 3-mana thing. What's the name of that card? The Goblin King. He was like a Goblin King. He made 1/1 tokens.
Yeah, I can't think of his name though.
But yeah, anyway, so he might fit in that role, but I don't know. Not quite enough.
Yeah, it's like the 1/1 Raging Goblin will kill you if you don't deal with it. You know? I mean, you eventually have to.
Yeah. All right. 3 more to go, so we're nearing the end here.
All right.
Aerith, Tormented Prophet. We're in the multicolored cards now. So Aerith is a human wizard legendary creature. She costs 1, a blue, and a red, and 2 power, 4 toughness. If you would draw a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library instead. You may play those cards this turn. I guess it was off air yesterday. We were talking about this one. Well, Mike, you can start it off.
Okay. Looking through some of the deck lists, I feel like this one's. I feel like it seems like Izzet is starting to move away from having dragons in it sort of universally, which I feel like starts to happen sometimes with these control decks. Like they get more and more extreme as time goes on. Where like I see Leers are in some of these.
Yeah.
So if Leers are in a lot of these decks, I feel like this card isn't gonna fit a deck with Leer in it because all these cards get exiled. So it kind of like non-bows with Leer. So I feel like this is one of the cards where like it wouldn't surprise me if it found a home or became like sort of like the primary source of card advantage in an Izzet deck. I feel like it makes more sense to fit in like the dragon deck because that seems to have a little bit of creature based stuff. Obviously with dragon eggs and then goldspan dragons. Because yeah, I mean like instead of like drawing 1 card, like you get to see 2 cards per turn.
Yep.
I feel like it's one of those things where as like a game goes on, this gets more and more powerful because the likelihood of being able to play 2 big spells increases as time goes on. And then the only other sort of like drawback is the you can only play them like that turn.
Right.
So I honestly, like the more I thought about it, I feel like it kind of hamstrings you a lot as well. So I actually don't know if this card is going to be good. Like in the way that like Izzet's currently constructed, because I mean like the way all these control decks are, it's like they like holding cards until like the highest leverage point.
Right.
And this one kind of like takes that away from you. So I feel like the current sort of iteration of Izzet right now doesn't want this card.
Yeah.
But I could totally see how in a more like proactive Izzet deck, like if there's like any sort of like Izzet like aggro or like Izzet combo deck, and you know, not even combo, maybe like well, honestly I feel like the answer might be like kind of a no, like a thumbs down. I feel like it might be a thumbs down. I feel like, as usual, when it comes to any sort of like spell, like, and of course like a blue-red wizard type player, I'm sure they're gonna try to break this card, but it seems like it doesn't fit Izzet as it currently stands. But you know, I've been wrong before.
So I'll go. I think an Izzet player will probably put one of, two of in these. They don't want it early. They want it late. But you're right. Once the cards go into exile, they're gone. So if they can't play those cards, they're gone.
Yeah.
So that will hurt them more than anything if they don't have everything they need by the time they play this. So if you look at it like that, if they don't, they should have everything they need. I mean, they'll try it. They'll waste, and I hope they do waste their the wild cards on it. But I'm with you. I don't think it gives you. It takes more than it gives. If is what I see. I mean, it's a turn 3 play if you play it on curve, but then you got to be able to do something with the 2 cards next turn, and every turn after that. So yeah, if you're not drawing lands, you can only play one. So yeah, it's a thumbs down for me, but I hope Izzet loves it because it'll hamstring them, like you said. I hope they run 4 copies. It'll put them
Yeah.
on. It puts them on a clock, and they're if they're playing mono green or gruel, they're already on the clock, and then they don't need another clock. So yeah, so thumbs down for me.
Yeah, I mostly agree. It's definitely going to be tried in places it shouldn't,
Right.
and people are going to lose games that they easily could have won. I feel like with this thing. Now having said that, and I'm not sure, this card's like hard to wrap your head around, but like in like a historic Izzet Phoenix deck, would this thing would this thing work, or would it just like maybe not? I don't know if it's even good, but there was like an historic deck that was just like they use those sprite dragons, like you get
Right.
+1/+1 every time you cast it, whatever instant or sorcery. It's like in that
Right.
kind of deck, it's probably it's better. I think in that deck it'd be.
Yeah, like I think the easy way, like what I was trying to explain before, is that I feel like this deck wants to be in a deck where you're playing a lot of permanents and a lot of proactive spells that you don't want to be saving, because then it's like just pure card advantage. So yeah, like some sort of like blue, like the Sprite Dragon type deck where like you want things to snowball extra fast, like every blue player does, and red player. It's the perfect blue-red card. So yeah, like permanent based aggro are like Izzet, I mean. So yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. So yeah, very situational. Thumbs maybe up, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, Dorothy. All right, Dorothy, Vengeful Victim. That is Dorothy, right? I'm not like completely butchering that.
No, I think it's Dorcia.
Yeah, whatever you say, Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going with Dorothy. So it's Dorothy, Vengeful Victim, the spirit legendary creature. It's costs a white and a blue, 4 power, 4 toughness. It has flying when it enters when it attacks or blocks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. It has disturb with a cost of 1, a white and a blue. And let's see the other side here.
Oh, that artwork's cool.
Yeah. The other side is an enchantment aura. You enchant creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks, create a 4/4 white spirit creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice that at the end of combat. If it would be put in the graveyard from if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead.
All right, let me look up this stupid card. All right, well, I mean, I think the easy answer here is this card is obviously reminiscent of that Geist of Saint Traft card. That was a 1 and then a plains and an island. It was a 2/2 hexproof, and every time that creature attacked, it made a 4/4 flying creature token, tapped and attacking, and then you would exile it at your end step. So this one sacrificed at the end of combat, which doesn't make too much of a difference, but sometimes there's like cards where you can sacrifice creatures to do random crap. I feel like this is a card where, because it's so aggressively costed and it's like a lot of damage to the face.
Right.
I feel like this card is probably good, but like not like broken good, I guess. Like Keith, how you were saying, like if like a spirit deck takes hold, I'm sure this card, just because again, I mean, it's just that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And then the back end, which is only 1 mana more, like you get to do the same thing, and then that one actually recurs, because like as long as that creature stays alive, then it just keeps happening.
Right.
So I mean, the more I'm actually talking through this card actually seems pretty good.
Yes.
I just don't know if it really has like a home necessarily yet. It sounds like it probably will. This card's not, like I don't know. This card could be better than how I'm even thinking about it, but like a 2 mana 4/4 flying is that's kind of a lot. I know it's sacrifices, but seems doesn't seem too bad, to be honest. So I mean, I'll give it a thumbs up. I just don't know about like the home element, I guess.
Yep, I'm with you. Thumbs up. I don't know where it fits. Azorius, they don't really run creature base, so I'm telling you, there's going to be a spirit deck, and this thing is going to be all over it. There'll be 4 ofs in it, and people will build it, and it might be good. Maybe it'll break up. Is it? Get rid of that. I mean, this is evasive, but it does fall victim to what? What is that 1 cost blue spell that puts it back in your hand?
Fading Hope.
Yeah, Fading Hope, and then also the 3 cost that bounces it back to your hand as well. So it falls victim to that out of blue. I mean, I don't know.
At least, oh yeah,
No,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was gonna say really quickly. At least if it gets bounced, it doesn't actually like get rid of it though.
Right.
Right. So at least you can cast it again.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it
and
is tempo loss.
it is tempo. I mean, you think about this. If you're playing mono green, you're on the play. You drop this down. I mean, even if you just block with it, it's yeah. But if you've got another creature out, I mean, yeah, I like it. It's gas. So thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, overall I agree. Uh there is a spirit deck floating around in historic. I think it'll fit in there.
Mm.
Um um I'm looking at the 2-drops currently in there, and I think it would I think it would get shoved in there. Um yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look now too.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
hmm. Yeah, it's sort of hard to this obviously this one's like very dependent on the supporting crew. So
right.
it's sort of hard to just look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing or garbage." But I think it's definitely good enough where if spirit's a thing, it will be in there somehow, some way. Um,
Yeah, the Skyclave Apparition's a spirit. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good card. All right, so the last one, fortunately, I think the last card here isn't very fun. Uh, all right, there it is. All right, so the last card, Lantern of the Lost. A
Mm.
1 colorless mana artifact. When Lantern of the Lost enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. And then it has an ability. You pay 1 and you tap it and you exile it, and it exiles all cards from all graveyards, and then you draw a card. There's a pretty specific reason why this one's in here. Yeah, it's not very interesting or fun or whatever. Like clearly just like situational like graveyard hate. Um the only thing I really want to point out here is I think it's just a strictly better Soul Guide Lantern.
Yep.
It's technically not strictly better, but uh yeah, I mean it's a better Soul Guide Lantern. So
Well, I feel like this one does all graveyards and not just the opponent. Which yes, I mean that can be a positive sometimes, I'm sure. It looks like to actually exile all to do the actual exiling of the graveyards. This one's also 1 more mana. So I feel like it's a little bit different. I'm not sure if I like it more or less.
yeah.
Like all graveyards, I guess in theory could screw you over too.
Yeah.
But then again, they obviously made this for a reason where you can have your preference, whichever one's like better. So yeah, I don't know. It's obviously playable for sure. So it's a thumbs up, I suppose. because it
Yeah.
obviously has a very powerful ability.
All right, I'm thumbs up. It takes care of flashback. It cripples Lear. You know, Lear's a 3/4/5 cost creature. And it kills that because if there's nothing in the graveyard, it's just a 3/4, when it's on the board. Yeah, I like it. And it does something that isn't, that anything that hurts them, I'm happy for. But yeah, I mean, the only benefit I would see to getting rid of my graveyard is the white deck that white creature that exiles, and when something's exiled, the other creature gets +1/+1. That would be the only other thing. As far as getting rid of yours, they can't ramp up the creature. But other than that, yeah, I think it's a good card. I'm probably gonna have a couple in the deck. It almost makes me want to play best of 3 so I can add them to a sideboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So, all right, that.
Well, you did say, did you say,
Oh,
Dave?
yeah. I mean, I sort of prefaced this one just because I know it's like this card has like a very clear like role. But yeah, no, I definitely buy this card, and like I was saying about that, whatever that whatever that white board wipe was, I am all for cards that keep the game in check. Because any time there's just some like bonkers, just like bonkers deck that just like destroys the meta, it's just like really not fun. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Keep the game fun,
Yep.
balanced, as much as we can hope for anyway. With it's out there, but that's fine. So yeah, thumbs up.
Yep.
So that about wraps it up. Any final words from the review today?
I think in a general sense, I know we only went through like these cards. It kind of seems like this set isn't super powerful from a constructive point of view.
Yeah.
Which I guess is I think because I'm like the limited leading player, that kind of feels like a good sign for me, that the format will be kind of like a deck building, like Pauper-esque type of set.
Yeah.
But I think for constructed, that usually is a bummer. I know like a lot of people complain about Throne of Eldraine, but I have to assume that constructed players still like when cards are good enough to be put into decks, and like the set is strong enough where like it changes the meta a little bit. And I know this one's kind of like a spiritual successor, almost like a block with Innistrad, which I know, I'm sure, even though I was gone for like a year and a half, I'm sure like the last like sort of sequence of sets kind of felt like a block too, maybe, I mean, or maybe not, like Strixhaven, Kaldheim, whatever else I missed. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously we only went through like a select few, but it doesn't seem like there's too many. Just like it doesn't. Okay, let's put it this way: it doesn't seem like there's too many cards that just slot right into pre-existing decks that are gonna like make them like either even more busted or not.
Right.
I think as far as that goes, the ones that kind of scare me that maybe they would is because Izzet turns is becoming more and more spell based.
Right.
Like having access to another 4 take extra turn cards. Feels like it could be problematic. And then I feel like some of the green cards we talked about kind of just logically slot their way in.
Right.
And then that cleric card, the life gain one. I don't know like what tier clerics are in, but obviously.
Oh, Mike, I think you got cut off. I can hear you talking in the other room.
Very strong in a cleric life gain matters deck.
Right.
I guess not having lifelink itself is a little bit of a drawback. It seems like a lot of those cards do have lifelink, but there are a few that don't. So, and that's sort of like your like payoff beater, but it seems like a very powerful one.
Right.
Like I don't. Would be in the cleric deck. But like this one would because it's that much more powerful. It actually is a cleric anyway. And you know, the life gain nets you like more busted abilities. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, constructed, I don't know how excited I am for the set, but you know, there's many more cards to talk about, I suppose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I'm with you that the spirit is definitely the voice of the blessed is the best. You know, I'm with you on that. That's the best one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, this set seems a little on the weak side. So, like, yeah, ultimately, like historic, I don't see anything changing. But couple toys in here.
Yes.
So, um, uh. Yeah, a couple toys, many spent wild cards down the toilet, for probably not much gain, but we'll see. I mean, there's definitely some potential. So, um, yeah. So I guess we'll see how right or wrong we are in the next couple days, and yeah. So I guess that about wraps it up. So unless there's any last words, we can yeah, sign off for today.
All right.
So Manic Vandals, podcast number 3 in the books.